So, hi everyone. Welcome to our debate, to our podcast. Today we'll be debating about should workfare be imposed on welfare recipients in Quebec. So, Bernard and Olivier will be defending the pro side, and me and Amadeo will be representing the con side of the debate. So, let's begin.
First of all, we'd like to shine a little bit of light on the welfare situation in Quebec. In 2022, the minimum amount of welfare a single adult could receive was $870 a month. That was in August 2022, and to this day, it is still increasing rather quick. And in that same month, there were an average there was an approximate 240,000 recipients in Quebec. And I'd like to remind you that it was the minimum welfare that was $870 a month. And if we multiply these two numbers together, we get an astonishing $2.5 billion a year in welfare costs only in Quebec, and that is if we don't even include the higher paid welfare recipients.
So Bernard and me think that people on welfare should work to earn their payments because it would force them to contribute to society in times during which the government and the industries are in great need of primary workers. So asking them to work would also motivate richer people to pay their taxes and to not complain about where the money goes. We can take PCU as an example. So it was created to financially support people in need during the pandemic, but a lot of middle class students and richer ones claimed it and immediately stopped working and then stopped contributing to society. In other words, similarly to the PCU, which is a government fund as well, welfare without workfare can lead to laziness, which affects the gross domestic product.
Also, people on welfare, not all of people, but some people on welfare, since they live in poverty, in certain cases, they tend to lean into rather suspicious activities, whether it includes cartels, drugs, or other illegal activities. But when you hand those same people a duty and something to do with their day, they tend to stay out of trouble, as now, rather than living in poverty, they live with a goal and a duty similar to a regular job.
Yes, although it is true that there are people who takes advantage of the system, like you said, even though with the PCU, where there were people who, when they started getting money, they stopped working. Uh, on the same side, people on welfare, uh, they there are a big majority of them who are actually there for a good reason, and it's only a small percentage of them that are there just to take advantage of the system. So it wouldn't be logical to make everybody on the welfare pay for, like like I said, the small percentage of people who take advantage, and it's like people who are working illegally or just taking advantage of the system.
So, yeah, we can also, there are a bunch of single parent families in Quebec, in Canada and Quebec. So in 1976, there was a total of 289,000 single parent Canadian families, and that went up to about 700,000 in 2014, which is insane. The amount of single parent families with kids under 16 used to represent a total of 20%. And in 2014, the total went up to 9%. You can see there's like a problem with the single parent families. They don't have enough revenue to go about their day, and being a single parent isn't an easy task. So they would need welfare. They would need, like, most of the people who are on welfare are not there by choice. They're there because they need it. They're already working. They're overwhelmed.
And to pursue, like I said before, it won't be fair to make everybody pay, uh, everybody on the welfare pay for the small percentage of people who takes advantage of the system by making them all work to receive their welfare paycheck. Imagine you being on the welfare. You're already working three jobs or two jobs full time, and to receive the welfare paycheck, you also have to work another job just to receive it. It's not, personally, I don't think it's very logical to make people pay for a small percentage of people who tend to take advantage of the system. And no matter how good the system will be, no matter what system it is and how protected it is, there will always be a small percentage of people who will tend to take advantage of it. Which bring me to the closing statement. The families are overwhelmed. They need to be able to have some times to fix their issues, to be able to get off of the welfare. Like they need to have some time off. Other they need, if they have a third job they need to pay to access the welfare paycheck. They won't be have time. They won't have time to work harder to try and get off of the welfare.
Although I understand your point about many families who have already a very hard time keeping up with the amount of work they have, but I believe you misunderstood our point. Our point, although it is, yes, to apply workfare for people on welfare, we would essentially just target people who have the ability to work. So rather than aiming for these small single mom families with three kids who have already 80 hours a week, we would rather target some people who are, I don't know, single parents or single adults without any kids that have a lot of time on their hand. So rather than targeting people who can't work, we'd rather target people who can work.
So, in conclusion, giving people who don't work but can work a duty allows them to contribute to society and gives them a purpose that keeps them out of trouble and provides them a more stable environment. Thank you for listening to the podcast.